Imagine being the party's ultimate meat shield, the guy who tanks every single hit just so the chosen one can steal all the credit. But right when the world is about to collapse, that so-called hero drops the truth bomb on you. He actually has the power to turn back time. And his master plan. He's going to bail to the past with his harem of girls, leaving you there to get deleted along with the rest of the world. But here is what he didn't calculate. Your ability, the one everyone called trash tier, actually lets you steal anything. So, with your final breath, you decide you are done being the victim and snatch his regression power right out of his hands. The traitor is left behind to face the ultimate game over, while you wake up years in the past, back in your child body, with a second chance to show them who the real main character is. The story boots up in the middle of a disaster, a war zone that smells like straight up. Our protagonist is there, staying on his feet through sheer willpower, or maybe because gravity just forgot about him. Covered in blood and stumbling like he just left a frat party gone wrong. But there is no time to rest, because a silver-haired girl decides to ruin the mood with the delicacy of a drill sergeant. "Hey, useless! What do you think you're doing?" She screams with disdain, ordering him to stop slacking off and hurry up to steal the curse that is affecting this guy named Arthur. Inside, our boy knows his HP bar is blinking red. He is at his limit. But with the resignation of someone who has already accepted his destiny as a farming tool, he replies that he'll do it right away. Purple aura starts oozing from his hand, runes are drawn, and because normal magic is for normies, a mouth emerges directly from his palm. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Krosh Walheim, the black sheep born into the family with the most broken OP bloodline in the world. His great power is the Black Hood, a unique ability that basically turns him into a Dyson vacuum for curses. An arm of purple energy wraps around Arthur, and the mouth on Krosh's hand swallows the curse in one bite. The problem is that being a toxic waste dump for dark magic has consequences. Krosh's body can't handle the malignant energy. He spits out a mouthful of blood and falls to his knees, slamming against the ground. And while he collapses, dying a little bit, 3 women run immediately towards Arthur, worried sick about whether the pretty boy messed up his hair, olympically ignoring the guy who just saved his hide. Arthur barely regains consciousness and decides to look at the sky. Bad idea. What he sees up there freezes his blood. A skeletal rider floating above them, armed with a colossal scythe that seems to cut the air just by looking at it. The presence of this being screams, boss-level threat, everywhere. The entity raises its weapon and, as if the scythe wasn't enough, summons massive fireballs that descend with fury, scorching the earth and turning the battlefield into a giant barbecue. Arthur observes the devastation, does the math, and doubt hits him. Did they really think they could fight this warrior of death with a scrub team and 0 resources? The decision takes him a microsecond. He opens his hand and drops his sword with a dry sound against the ground. Total surrender. Without wasting time, he turns to the 3 girls and orders them to get the hell out of there with him immediately. Krosh, watching the show from the floor, can't believe what his ears are hearing. "What the hell are you doing?" he asks him, with a mix of confusion and the urge to punch him. Arthur replies with astonishing coldness that this is over, and that the grand strategic solution is to run away. Krosh grits his teeth until he almost breaks them. He screams at him if he really plans to rage quit and leave just like that, after all the people who sacrificed themselves and died just so they could get here. Frustration explodes and he accuses him of the obvious. That deep down, the only thing Arthur cares about is staying safe surrounded by his simp squad. But the answer doesn't come from the hero, but from his fan club. Sigrun Ephania intervenes sharply and shuts him up, assuring with total conviction that Arthur did the best he could. Her eyes look at Krosh as if he were a bug. "You are just a piece of trash that is only good for looting," she spits with venom. "Don't you dare lecture Arthur." Krosh, with indignation burning his throat, doesn't stay quiet. He throws it in her face that she is shameless for daring to call him trash. With rage on the surface, he reminds them of a small technical detail. He is the sole reason they are still breathing. If it weren't for his damn ability to steal curses, their adventure would have ended in the tutorial. The frustration breaks the dam and the parade of recriminations begins. First, he points at Abella, the redhead witch. He refreshes their memory. She was totally useless, unable to use magic because of a cursed block. And what happened when Krosh freed her from that burden? She paid him back by attacking him and looking at him with the contempt reserved for cockroaches. Great customer service. Then he unloads his anger against the memory of Mary Diana. He describes her without filters for what she is. An idiot with a magnet for aggro, who spent her time getting cursed just to run crying for Krosh to cleanse her. And finally, he faces the princess, Sigrun, the same one who just called him trash. He reminds her of the literal price he paid for her. He sacrificed his own eye. His mind travels to the past, to the golden days of the academy, where she bullied him mercilessly and screamed questions about whether a loser like him deserved the Walheim last name. Despite all that toxicity, he healed her eyes. He did it because he swallowed the story that she was destined for the blue sky generation, the chosen ones to save the world, assuming his role was to be the talentless support who sacrifices himself for the heroes. A wave of disappointment, more bitter than the blood filling his mouth, invades Krosh. He asks himself why the hell he endured all that hell. Until this second, he had the blind hope that Arthur would save the world. His eyes seek the leader, remembering with painful clarity the past. Arthur was the only one who extended a hand when nobody would bet a cent on him, inviting him to blue sky. Krosh worshipped him, saw him as his idol, the ultimate main character. But that immaculate image cracks and crumbles in front of the pathetic reality. Arthur observes the imminent destruction with a calm so unnatural it borders on psychopathy. While the world falls to pieces, he breaks the silence with the same emotion of someone discussing the weather. "I guess I can tell you now," he murmurs with absolute coldness. "This world is already finished. There is nothing left to do here, so I will start from the beginning again." Krosh blinks, totally stunned. His brain fails to process the words. What does "start again" mean when you have the apocalypse breathing down your neck? Arthur, with the indifference of someone repeating a boring bureaucratic procedure, decides to explain the situation. Turns out this isn't his first rodeo. He has seen humanity's game over screen before. "My ability is regression," Arthur confesses, dropping the lore bomb. "And since this time I managed to unlock the memory inheritance technique, I, along with these three, will be able to return keeping all our memories intact." The revelation hits Krosh with the force of a sledgehammer to the forehead. He is left shocked, connecting the dots in his feverish mind. The logic is cold and calculated. If they restart the playthrough keeping the XP and hacks gained in this life, the probability of avoiding destruction in the next timeline skyrockets. It is an impeccable tactical strategy, worthy of a genius, or a coward with a reset button. Arthur nods, reading the understanding on his subordinate's face. "Exactly. That's why I will start New Game Plus together with these three." The silence that follows is more suffocating than the smoke of battle. Krosh feels a knot in his stomach and, with a trembling voice, formulates the question he knows is going to hurt. "And what about me?" Arthur sketches a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. He scans him up and down, evaluating his pitiful state like someone looking at a broken appliance that is out of warranty. "You are not necessary," he sentences without anesthesia. "I admit your ability to steal curses was very useful, a convenient tool, like a good vacuum cleaner. But look at yourself. In your current state, you are no use to me anymore. You are broken. It would be much more efficient to look for the fresh version of you in the new world." At that moment, the truth falls on Krosh like a concrete slab. He understands everything. He was never a teammate, nor a friend, nor an equal. They always saw him as a consumable item, a disposable battery thrown in the trash as soon as the charge runs out. "Don't worry," adds Arthur, turning around to leave with his harem. "I will make good use of you in the next world, and in the one after that, over and over again." Krosh, desperate, tries to crawl towards them, scraping his knees against the scorched ground. He begs them to wait, not to leave him behind in that hell, but his pleas are carried away by the wind while the group walks away without looking back even once. As he watches them turn into distant silhouettes, an internal confession, painful and late, arises in his mind. He should have known from the start. He had deluded himself all this time. If Arthur had ever seen him as a true comrade, he would never have allowed the other members of Blue Sky to trample him with such cruelty. His silence was never ignorance. It was pure and hard complicity. "Take me with you, you bastard!" Krosh screams with all his might, feeling desperation tear his throat. Arthur's only answer is a cruel laugh that resonates in the distance, completely ignoring the useless NPC he leaves behind. However, in the middle of total abandonment, something clicks inside Krosh. His expression changes drastically, going from pathetic crying to icy fury. His features harden and he makes a silent promise. He is not going to let it end like this. He extends a trembling arm towards his former idol's back. It's time to play the hidden card. In that moment, the true nature of his power is revealed. His ability isn't limited to being the cursed dumpster. Although the process is infinitely harder, complex, and dangerous, Krosh also possesses the capacity to steal abilities. If the world is going to hell in the next 30 seconds anyway, he loses absolutely nothing by trying. It's all or nothing. Krosh activates his spell. The invisible energy crosses the distance like a bullet and hits Arthur squarely, but the hero keeps walking with a steady step, so full of arrogance that he doesn't even notice his magic pockets just got emptied. Krosh speaks to him from behind, stopping Arthur's pace with his words. "You should give up already," Arthur tells him with a sigh of annoyance, without even bothering to turn around. To him, Krosh is just background noise. "So you have experienced numerous destructions." Krosh begins, with a voice loaded with a strange and terrifying calm. "And every time, you always abandon me for being useless, right?" Krosh wonders aloud how many times, in how many forgotten cycles, Arthur left him to sink in despair while he escaped through reality's back door. But this time, Krosh sentences with absolute coldness, "It's your turn to be left behind." Arthur lets out a mocking laugh, shaking his head. He doesn't understand at all what he is hearing and asks him with disdain if fear already fried his brain. Krosh just smiles. He raises his hand and points his index finger directly upwards. "Maybe," he responds. In that instant, Krosh's body begins to glow intensely. It isn't just any aura. It is the light of the regression ability recognizing its new owner and activating. Arthur follows the direction of Krosh's finger and looks up. The Death Knight looms over them, with a scythe ready for the final home run. Terror invades Arthur suddenly. He tries to use his ability instinctively to escape to the next life, but he encounters the void. He realizes the escape button has disappeared. He can't activate it. Panic deforms his perfect face into a grimace of absolute horror upon understanding that this time, death is real. The Death Knight doesn't wait. He launches a powerful attack, a wave of massive destruction that wipes out everything in its path, consuming Arthur, the girls, and the landscape in a microsecond. While the world disintegrates, Krosh begins to fade from that doomed reality, leaving a last promise floating in the air. Definitely, he will save the next world, but his way. Abrupt cut to black. Krosh opens his eyes suddenly, heart racing at 1,000 miles per hour. Hell, the flames, and the screams have disappeared. He finds himself in a ridiculously luxurious room, surrounded by fine furniture and silk sheets of the highest quality. He looks around, totally confused, trying to locate where he is, until understanding hits him. That is the mansion where he lived as a child. He looks at his hands and body, noticing something strange. Everything looks small. He realizes that the spell, being stolen and used for the first time with brute force, has been unstable. The power got out of hand and has returned him too far back in the timeline. There he is, in front of the mirror, little Krosh Walheim, just 13 years old. To understand the level of disaster they were in, first we have to explain what the hell world erosion is. We're not talking about a simple alien invasion from the movies. This is a cataclysmic event where reality itself gets chewed up and spit out by another dimension. The environment twists, changes its existential zip code, and allows all kinds of bugs to cross the border to claim the planet. Among these little gems are the eroders, beasts that have the audacity to look a bit like humans. An example. Imagine a cute girl. Now mix her with a bloodthirsty harpy and have her hunt from the sky. Lovely. To stop this apocalypse were the popular kids, the heroes of the blue sky generation. Humanity's hope, the shield against the end. Blah, blah, blah. And then, in the fine print of the contract, was our protagonist. Krosh wasn't a warrior of light, nor was he on the posters. His glorious job was to be a lightning rod with legs, a meat tank designed to swallow all the curses aimed at the real heroes so they wouldn't mess up their hair. But let's go back to the present. Because the scenery change is brutal. Little Krosh wakes up suddenly in bed, heart wanting to jump out of his mouth and eyes wide as plates. His brain suffers an immediate blue screen of death. A second ago he was freezing in the cruel winter of a battlefield, covered in his own blood, and now he is sweating buckets from the suffocating summer heat. It takes him a few seconds to reboot the system and stop hyperventilating. He looks at the furniture, recognizes the smell, sees the light, and realization hits him. He is in his childhood room. That only means one thing. His suicide play worked. Using Black Hood to steal Arthur's regression a millisecond before dying was a resounding success. Krosh is about to celebrate that he is still alive and has a second chance, but his analytical brain ruins the party with a very reasonable doubt. How the hell was it so easy to steal such a broken skill? Here is where the fine print of his power comes in. Black Hood isn't an all-you-can-eat buffet where you take what you want. The golden rule says that, to steal something, you first have to open a visual lock that appears when activating the spell. And watch out, the security of that lock isn't random. It depends directly on the emotional value the owner has for the target. It is an absolute rule. If someone loves a rock on the ground madly, the lock to steal that rock will be Fort Knox level, practically impossible to open. By pure logic, unique spells, and ultimate abilities, those people protect with their lives should have impenetrable security, exponentially difficult to break. Krosh rewinds the mental tape to the moment of the theft and wonders what the hell was going through Arthur's head. When he cast Black Hood, nothing appeared. Zero locks. No resistance. It was like walking into a house with the door wide open. The revelation falls on him like a bucket of ice water. The absence of a lock only has one possible translation. Arthur, the great king of heroes, was actually dying to get rid of that ability. For him, the power to go back and save the world wasn't worth a cent. It was trash he desperately wanted to discard. Krosh is left stuck on a deep question. Why the hell would Arthur, the guy the masses adore and call the king of heroes, want to get rid of a power as absurdly broken as regression? It doesn't make sense. Until his memory starts connecting the dots. Memories hit him all at once. He remembers all those times when Arthur, away from the cameras and applause, dropped his perfect hero mask and showed a face of absolute exhaustion. And it wasn't physical gym tiredness, it was the wear and tear of someone who was already dead inside. And let's be honest, being forced to watch the world go to hell over and over and over again is psychological torture that not even the strongest mind would withstand. Nobody can keep their sanity in an infinite loop of death and rebirth. For Arthur, that regression ability wasn't a divine blessing nor the ticket to save humanity. It wasn't much different from a curse chaining him to eternal suffering. That was the sad reason why the hero didn't even bother saving the world anymore. He had lost the will to fight a long time ago and simply dedicated himself to killing time surrounded by his women, seeking cheap and fleeting comfort while waiting for the inevitable game over. Krosh understands then the final implication of his theft. The fact that the lock didn't appear and he could take the ability so easily means Arthur wanted to lose it. It means the Arthur he knew stayed stuck, without an exit ticket, in that world condemned to destruction. His fate was sealed and was, without a doubt, tragic. I took the ability you wanted to get rid of so badly, murmurs Krosh with cutting coldness, speaking to the ghost of his ex-leader. So you should thank me. A wave of pure resentment runs through his body, remembering everything he had to endure under that guy's command. He was always the outcast of the group, the zero on the left in strategies, treated with total disdain. For them, stealing curses was like taking out the trash, a trivial task anyone could do, not giving a damn about the physical pain Krosh suffered absorbing the darkness of others. Arthur was never a comrade. He was a silent executioner. You deserved it, piece of trash, he sentences finally, closing that chapter of his life with pure contempt. Krosh leaves the emotional drama and stands in front of a full-length mirror to inspect his new hardware. The reflection is clear. He has returned to being about 10 years old. He is short, with that height of someone who hasn't hit the growth spurt yet. But his body tells a very different story. Under the kid clothes there is defined musculature and a hardness that doesn't match his age. That is the inevitable result of having wielded a sword every damn day of his life. A desperate effort to survive and not be devoured in the Walheim family, the most powerful and psychopathic martial house on the continent. He analyzes the room and quickly connects the dots about his temporal location. If they sent him to this specific mansion, it means the infamous trial ceremony, that mandatory 10-year-old event, is already history. For those who don't know, the Walheim trial ceremony is the peak moment where kids prove their worth, make a contract with a god, and obtain their unique ability. The problem: Krosh's history was a disaster. Since he was born, he showed negative talent for martial arts. During the ceremony, the gods ghosted him. None chose him. He was totally ignored by the divine. The consequence: a kick in the butt and immediate expulsion from the main house to exile within his own clan, the Azure Pine Mansion. Basically, the dumpster where the family keeps their failures so they don't get in the way. A bitter irony settles in his head. Turns out now he, the biggest failure in the glorious history of the Walheims, is the only person alive who knows the world has an expiration date. He is the only one aware of an apocalypse that not even the legendary Blue Sky generation, the supposed saviors, would be capable of stopping. Doubt assaults him for a second. Can he really stop it? Does he have any real chance against total destruction? His hands tremble a bit under the weight of responsibility, but he regains composure in record time. His gaze hardens with renewed determination. It's not about whether he can or can't do it. The issue is he has to do it. After all, the equation is simple and brutal. If the world gets destroyed, he dies too. There is no plan B, only fighting left. So the first crucial step to prevent us all from dying is, murmurs Krosh, trying to organize his world savior agenda. But before he can finish the sentence, a soft voice interrupts him from the door. "Young master, what are you doing awake at this hour?" Arioto asks with that kind and helpful tone of a movie butler. Krosh turns around and, for a microsecond, feels a pang of genuine emotion. Arioto is alive. He was the only butler in this exile and, more importantly, the only person on the entire planet who seemed to truly care about a failure like him. But the nostalgia lasts as long as a sigh. The warmth in Krosh's gaze freezes and transforms into something terrifying. He narrows his eyes, locking them on the servant, and puts on a macabre face that definitely shouldn't be on a 10-year-old's mug. "That poison my brother gave you to kill me," he says with an icy and paused voice. "When do you plan to use it?" Color disappears from Arioto's face, and a drop of cold sweat runs down his temple. The silence becomes suffocating. Krosh knows that reaction by heart. In his past life, this good man served him the first great betrayal of his existence, a traumatic event scheduled for when he turned 14. While tension is cut with a knife in the Failures Mansion, elsewhere on the Walheim estate, violence is unleashed with elegance. In the training field, a girl moves like a whirlwind of steel. She is literally pureeing a group of adult warriors, experienced guys who drop like flies before her hits. The young girl gives off an aura so beastly that the spectators forget how to breathe. The examiners, at the edge of the tatami, watch with open mouths, wondering in whispers how the hell it's possible that some veterans can't even touch a 15-year-old teenager. Her alias Sword Saint wasn't a joke, they comment, swallowing hard. In the center of the chaos, the girl has a face like she's waiting in line at the DMV. Total boredom, almost insulting. She is Charlotte Walheim, Krosh's older sister and the family's crown jewel. The examiners keep drooling, saying she has 1 in a million talent, that she is a prodigy and thanks to her the Walheims have their future secured. But someone listens from the shadows and isn't happy at all. It is Barakin Walheim, the older half-brother. Jealousy is burning his insides with every compliment he hears. In his twisted mind, he swears he is going to exterminate that entire bloodline outshining him. But of course, his survival instinct works fine. He knows messing with Charlotte, who is basically a combat monster, is assisted suicide. He would die before unsheathing. So, with a coward's grimace, he decides to start with the weakest link. His target is that useless failure, Krosh. The memory of the conspiracy plays in 4K in Krosh's mind. We see the exact moment Barakin cornered the butler to sell him his master plan. First, he tried to touch his professional ego. "Surely your brilliant career is stagnant because of having to take care of useless Krosh, right?" He whispered with the subtlety of a snake. "You are wasting your life in that mansion forsaken by God." Then, Barakin pulled out a small vial and placed it on the table. "The price of a man's soul. If you give just 1 drop of this to Krosh, he promised with a soap opera villain smile. "I assure you your money problems disappear. And most importantly, your daughter's medical treatment will be paid for life." Arioto, at that moment, tried to resist with a voice broken by moral conflict. "I have raised young Krosh as if he were my own son. How could I do something like that to him?" But Barakin sighed, feigning impatience, and delivered the low blow, the question designed to destroy the will of any desperate father. "Are you trying to tell me you prefer saving someone else's son before your own daughter?" Arioto bit his lip until almost bleeding, devoured by helplessness. Checkmate. Krosh's mind travels to the original ending of that story. When the fateful day arrived, Arioto couldn't handle the weight of his conscience. Instead of poisoning the kid he had raised, the butler collapsed in the middle of the dining room, coughing up blood violently in front of a terrified Krosh. At the last second, he couldn't deal with the remorse and decided to drink the poison himself. "Forgive me, young master," he whispered with his last breath, while life escaped him. "You are as precious to me as my own child." That image remains branded by fire in Krosh's memory. Him crying inconsolably in the luxurious dining room, alone, with Arioto's corpse in front of him. The only person who had loved him had sacrificed himself because of him. A precious trauma for the collection. Back to the present, the tension in the room can be cut with a knife. Krosh's question floats in the air like a death sentence. "When do you plan to use the poison my brother ordered you to administer to me?" He repeats, locking eyes with the servant. Arioto, sweating bullets, tries to maintain professional composure. He looks away and opts for the old reliable, playing dumb. "I don't know what poison you are talking about, young master," he responds with a trembling voice, feigning dementia. Krosh narrows his eyes, evaluating the terrible acting performance. "Do you intend to insult me by feigning ignorance?" he questions with absolute coldness. Arioto stays in sepulchral silence. He can't sustain the lie, but is too terrified to confess. Krosh lets out a long and heavy sigh. He analyzes the situation fast. If he keeps pressing and corners him against his own guilt, it is very likely the butler will end up just like in the past life, breaking prematurely. And a dead butler isn't much use. "Forget it," says Krosh, cutting the tension with a listless gesture. "After all, if I weren't a failure in my family's eyes, nobody would have thought of giving you an order like that." Arioto blinks, in disbelief. He is in shock. In any other circumstance, or rather, with the Krosh he knew until yesterday, the kid would have panicked, screamed, or burst into tears upon finding out his own blood wants to kill him. But the kid in front of him doesn't shed a single tear. He has the stoicism of a war veteran. Arioto realizes immediately. Something fundamental has changed in his young master. "Follow me," Krosh orders, turning around without waiting for the butler to process the emotional trauma. They walk through the mansion's corridors until reaching a huge library, a place so silent and full of dust that probably no one has stepped there in decades. Arioto looks around, wondering why the hell he brought him to the allergy section. Krosh stops in front of a specific section of the wall, points at it, and drops the most random order of the day: cut the wall. Arioto looks at him confused, trying to find logic in destroying property. Being the butler of House Walheim, a task like that should be a piece of cake for you, right? Insists Krosh, poking his professional pride. Arioto nods, recovering his posture. If the boss wants a hole, he gets a hole. He unsheathes his sword with a fluid movement and, with a single precise and devastating thrust, strikes the structure. The wall stands no chance. It yields to the steel and crumbles, revealing a huge hole leading to a secret passage wrapped in darkness. "Well done," says Krosh, walking into the shadows as if it were his house. The butler follows him with his hand still on the hilt, confirming his suspicion more and more. The young Krosh walking ahead of him is a completely different person from yesterday. His aura, his firm step, his determination, everything has mutated. The scared kid has left the chat. Reaching the end of the corridor, they run into the level's final boss. A huge ancient lock sealing an iron door. Krosh observes it with nostalgia and immense relief. In his past life, when he discovered this place, the contents inside had already been reduced to ashes, loot lost forever. But this time, he has arrived before the destruction. "Do you wish for me to cut those chains, young master?" asks Arioto, preparing to attack again. "No," responds Krosh, stopping him. "Anyway, you couldn't cut them. They are protected by ancient magic." Immediately after, Krosh extends his hand. A dark and familiar aura sprouts from his skin. He activates his skill, Black Hood, and manipulates the magical lock's energy like someone opening a soda can. The lock, unable to resist a hack of that level, disassembles with a metallic click and falls to the ground, defeated. Krosh notes with satisfaction that his skill suffered no nerf after the regression. It retains all the potency of its adult version. "Young master," murmurs Arioto, eyes wide open. "Did you manage to make a contract with some god?" Krosh tenses internally. He realizes he made a basic calculation error. At this point in the timeline, he should still be a useless scrub without powers, much less with such a specific skill. He acted on instinct. Quickly, he activates his poker face to dissimulate. Yes, he lies with practiced indifference. "I made a contract with an insignificant god. Nothing worth talking about." He turns to the butler and looks him straight in the eyes, throwing the final ultimatum. "I appreciate your help. If you want to go report to my father about this secret passage and my new skill, you are free to do so." Arioto stays silent for a moment, processing the information. He reflects on the abysmal contrast. Yesterday, young Krosh had the empty gaze of a defeated soul. But today, after that supposed contract with a trash-tier god, he has changed drastically. He has fire in his eyes. The butler watches the boy's back and thinks that, after all, the same crazy blood as the family prodigy runs through his veins. Although clearly not at Charlotte's monstrous level, Arioto sees latent potential in that new attitude. He makes an executive decision. "No, young master," responds Arioto solemnly. "At least until whatever you are trying to do is finished, I won't tell anyone anything. I will keep your secret." Krosh nods, understanding a vital lesson. By taking different actions than in his past life, the butterfly effect hits immediately and changes the people around him. Still, the memory of the past Arioto, the one who died for him, remains alive in his memory, superimposing over the present figure. Maybe, thinks Krosh, that was the reason why Arthur couldn't stand having the regression skill anymore. Those discrepancies in others' behavior, seeing how they changed over and over again depending on his actions, must have been maddening for mental health. Krosh drafts a quick mental plan. If he manages to cure Arioto's daughter, he will unlock the butler's unbreakable loyalty. And let's be practical, while stuck in this mansion, he needs to farm the most useful pawns at his disposal. "Do as you wish," he tells Arioto, downplaying it with a hand gesture. He thinks he'll worry about the medical drama and charity later. Right now, the absolute priority is the secret library in front of him. He pushes the heavy door and, upon opening, an intimidating aura surges from one of the shelves, hitting him in the face like a gust of physical wind. The pressure is brutal. Even for Krosh, who has survived curses and horrors on the battlefield, this manages to send a cold sweat down his back. There is no doubt. In front of him lies the treasure he was looking for. This isn't a run-of-the-mill library. It is the forgotten archive of the Rejects. The place where the ancestors of the Walheim family who were labeled as failures wrote and stored all their techniques and memories without exception. It is a graveyard of forbidden knowledge, a collection of manuals designed specifically so those without talent could break the system and reach great heights. At first, nobody knew of this place's existence, until it became the personal lair of a single legend, Valhais Damaris. The guy was known as the biggest failure in Walheim history, the ultimate shame of the surname. However, history took an ironic turn worthy of applause. Valhais was consumed by the world erosion, adapted to it, and through that infernal process became the strongest person who ever existed. Now, the secret manual left by that monster, the definitive compendium on how to transform weakness into absolute power, is within Krosh's reach. Nobody in their right mind wanted to mess with Valhais Damaris in his golden age. We are talking about a guy who, when the most powerful clans in the world decided to form an Avengers-style alliance to stop him, he simply picked his teeth with them. He exterminated them as if they were annoying flies on a summer day. His secret: a broken skill called extreme blood poison. Basically, the guy looked at the world erosion, that corrupting force that drives anyone crazy, and said, "You know what? I'm gonna drink it. And it worked. He became invincible. In his past life, this book was more burnt than a Christmas turkey. More than half the pages were missing, so he never understood how a monster like Damaris could lose. It was the biggest plot hole in history. But now, with the full HD version in his hands, the truth hits him in the face. Damaris didn't lose against anyone. He lost against himself. The force of the erosion was so beastly it fried his brain, and he went completely crazy. And here is where Krosh's million-dollar idea lightbulb turns on. He remembers the time he himself was hit by erosion in the future. Instead of going crazy, he used his black hood to weaken the curse and then, in a master play, neutralized it by crashing it against another curse. Magic math. Gentlemen. Negative times negative equals positive. If the theory doesn't fail him, he can apply that same logic to extreme blood poison. Damaris fell because he had no brakes, but Krosh is the brake. If he gets a curse potent enough to counter the side effects of erosion, not only will he master the technique, he will become a version 2.0 of Damaris. A monster capable of surpassing the original legend. The plan is so risky it borders on stupidity, but what does he have to lose? With the training plan mentally mapped out, Krosh closes the book and looks at his newly acquired servant. Arioto, he says with that voice that admits no backtalk. From this second, the door is closed. Do not let anyone, and I mean anyone, set foot in this mansion. Arioto, who is still processing everything, stands at attention like a soldier. Understood. Young master. As he watches Krosh walk away, the butler has his own moment of reflection. His young master knew he was going to betray him with the poison, he knew perfectly well, and decided to turn a blind eye. He spared his life without saying a word. For a man of honor like Arioto, that weighs more than gold. In that instant, his loyalty officially switches sides. To fix his mistake, he has to make a very uncomfortable call. He is going to reject Barakin's proposal. Screw the dirty money. His loyalty is with Krosh. We switch scenes to Barakin Walheim's room, and the atmosphere is heated. The guy is red with rage, screaming at a messenger or maybe at the wall. What do you mean he rejects the offer? He roars, throwing things on the floor. That damn servant dares to say no to me because of that useless scrub. Barakin can't believe it. He is the older brother, the strategist, the one with the money. How is it possible that a waste of space like Krosh is winning the moral game against a butler? Insecurity is oozing from his pores. He already has enough with Charlotte, that monstrous genius, hoarding all the attention, and now the trash brother also seems to want to step out of his shadow. His twisted mind travels to the origin of all his evils. Krosh and Charlotte's mother. If only that dirty-blooded woman hadn't appeared. He thinks with venom. For him, everything is that plebeian stepmother's fault for mixing with the pure Walheim lineage. If she didn't exist, he and his dear sister Lilish would be the only heirs, the kings of the castle, without having to worry about protecting their reputation from these freaks. Barakin's paranoia is reaching critical levels. He feels his privileged position wobbling because of those he considers inferior. The guy can't stand the curiosity, nor the blow to his ego, so he calls one of his own butlers with the urgency of someone needing toilet paper in a public restroom. He gives him a clear and direct order. Go right now to the Azure Mansion. I want you to find out what the hell happened to Arioto and why he suddenly decided to betray me to support that trash Krosh. The servant, who already sees the storm coming, swallows hard and, with the trembling voice of someone knowing they are going to deliver bad news, drops the bomb. Sir, that won't be possible. We can't enter. Barakin is left in shock, with a face like, are you kidding me? What do you mean you can't enter? He asks, feeling a vein about to pop in his forehead. The servant explains the situation. Turns out Arioto has taken his new job very seriously. The butler is planted at the door in Gandalf mode, screaming you shall not pass, to anyone approaching. And when they say anyone, it's anyone. He has blocked the entrance, prohibiting access even to the family big shots. Upon hearing this, Barakin completely loses it. He hits the table and screams that failure Krosh and his butler have become first-class insolence. The humiliation of having the door shut in his face in his own house is too much for his fragile pride. We change the channel and go to our protagonist. While his brother writhes in anger, Krosh is in absolute peace, sitting in lotus position and surrounded by a glowing aura. He is in full yoga session, checking his stats. Have I reached expert level yet? He asks himself, analyzing his energy flow. To understand the power scale in this world, it goes like this. First you have the aura users, who are the noobs, those who just learn to turn on the light. Then you go up to aura expert. This is where most people stagnate, the average, the filler NPCs. But right in front of him is a gigantic wall, the line separating mortals from monsters. The next level is Aura Master, and only the chosen ones, the true geniuses, enter that VIP club. And guess who is in that VIP club? Exactly, his dear older sister, Charlotte. Even though she is only 2 years older than Krosh, the girl is already an Aura Master. An authentic beast. Anyone would feel intimidated, but Krosh has an advantage. He comes from the future. And he remembers something terrifying. Even Charlotte, with all her absurd power and genius talent, looked like a helpless ant when the real apocalypse arrived. That thought gives Krosh a reality check. He looks at his hands and thinks, if she, who is a monster, couldn't do anything, what hope do I have barely scratching expert level? Can I really save this world? Doubt starts eating him up, but then, his own conscience, or maybe a hallucination of his future version, gives him a mental slap. Stop whining. His inner self tells him. You won't know until you try. To start, stop comparing yourself. In the past life you were useless because the curse blocked your aura. You were nerfed from birth. But now the patch is fixed. You don't have that limit anymore. Besides, he has an ace up his sleeve that Charlotte doesn't. Valhais Damaris's cheat manual. Even if right now he isn't at his sister's level, with that book he can break the system and level up faster than anyone. Krosh opens his eyes, and that doubt has transformed into pure determination. I will definitely get stronger, he says with the smile of someone who knows he is going to win the match. Satisfied with the day's progress, he decides enough is enough for today and stops training. Just when Krosh finishes flexing his aura, Arioto appears with the perfect timing of a 5-star butler, offering him a towel to dry the sweat of success. Congratulations, young master, he tells him with a genuine bow. Reaching expert level at your age is something worth celebrating. But Krosh doesn't even flinch. He wipes his face with the indifference of someone who just won a game on easy mode and replies, it's not a big deal. This is the minimum if I want to survive what's coming. For him, being an expert is like having a driver's license. Useful, yes, but it doesn't make you a Formula 1 pilot. Without wasting time, he gets to the point. Well? What are you doing here waiting for me? I assume you didn't come just to bring me a towel. Arioto nods. Getting serious. You have a visitor, sir. Your fiancée, Lady Bianca Hardenheart, just arrived at the mansion. The name hits Krosh like a Vietnam flashback. His mind travels instantly to the original timeline, and the image he sees isn't of a sweet fiancée, but of a walking nightmare. In his past life, Bianca wasn't just any noble. She was known as the White Demon. One of the ringleaders of the Eroders, the villain faction dedicated to breaking the world for fun. The girl was so broken she even managed to defeat one of the 10 strongest under heaven. We are talking about a legendary level final boss. But sure, breathe easy, that hasn't happened yet. At this moment, Bianca is just the youngest daughter of the Hardenheart family and, unfortunately for her, Krosh's fiancé in a marriage that has less love than a kid for vegetables. The situation is as follows. It's a corporate win-win. The Walheim family wanted to get rid of their trash by throwing it far away, and the Hardenheart family, controlling the north, accepted keeping the package in exchange for a political connection with the strongest Marshall clan. Basically, both are pawns. Krosh is the toxic waste the Walheims exported, and Bianca is the Hardenheart's bargaining chip. A fair deal in the cruel nobility market. But why is Bianca the way she is? Here comes the dark soap opera drama. Turns out her origin is cursed from minute zero. When her mother was pregnant, she was hit by the world erosion. The mother died in childbirth, sacrificing her life so a girl could be born who, ironically, arrived in the world broken. Bianca was born with a congenital curse called Snowman. Sounds cute, but it's horrible. This condition prevents her from feeling or expressing emotions. Literally, her heart is frozen. The curse is so stuck to her DNA that no exorcist, healer, or curse remover has been able to do anything about it. And to top it off, since her body is contaminated by this energy, the gods rejected her. She never could make a divine contract, which in this world practically makes you a magic outcast. Her family, the Hardenhearts, treat her with a coldness that would make an Eskimo shiver, implicitly blaming her for her mother's death and for being accursed, useless. Krosh, while walking towards the meeting, analyzes the situation with a surgeon's coldness. Does she hate me? He asks himself. Is she annoyed about having to marry the Walheim useless? But honestly, Krosh cares little about romantic feelings or teen drama. He has his eyes on the jackpot. He doesn't see Bianca as his future wife. He sees her as the missing piece to his power puzzle. His plan is simple and Machiavellian. Steal Bianca's curse. Remember that Damaris's extreme blood poison drove people crazy due to its uncontrolled and burning power? Well, what is the best thing to cool down a nuclear reactor about to explode? Exactly, a little ice. The snowman curse is the perfect coolant. If Krosh manages to absorb that curse with his black hood, he will be able to use it to neutralize the side effects of Damaris's technique. So while heading to see her, Krosh isn't thinking about flowers or dates. He's thinking, I hope she doesn't resist too much, because I need to steal that curse no matter what to become invincible. Krosh snaps out of his training trance and realizes a small detail. He smells like a cheap gym and his hair is a disaster. Not exactly the ideal look to receive an important visitor, especially if you want to manipulate her. Arioto, he says, smelling his shirt. I think my current appearance leaves much to be desired. If I go out like this, she's going to think I'm the gardener. Arioto, always a step ahead, nods professionally. Do not worry, young master. I will prepare a change of clothes immediately. Meanwhile, I will take Lady Bianca to the main hall and show her inside. Krosh thanks him, saved by the bell, and by the best butler in the world. And there we have her. Little Bianca Hardenheart. Pale as a ghost, cold as an ice cube, and with an expression screaming, I don't want to be here. While Krosh gets dressed, his mind gifts us a flashback from 5 months ago, so we understand why the atmosphere is so tense. Back then, Krosh wasn't the genius strategist he is now. He was a bitter and pretty jerky teenager. We see poor Bianca trying to be nice, touching his arm, and Krosh reacts as if she burned him. Smack! He slaps her hand away. Don't touch me! He screams with a look full of disgust. I know perfectly well what you are here for. You are only interested in the Walheim family power, right? Stop acting like you care about me. You are pathetic. Bianca, faithful to her snowman curse, doesn't cry, doesn't scream, doesn't do anything. She just rubs her hit hand with her eternal poker face. Krosh, crowning himself as Toxic of the Year, kicks her out of his room and slams the door in her face. But what Krosh didn't see at that moment is what was going through her head. Bianca sighs, thinking, it's not like I'm here because I want to, idiot. Bianca's reality is sad. Her father, the Hardenheart leader, is the typical patriarch who views his children as livestock. He grabs her shoulder tightly, too tightly, and gives her the sales pitch. Listen well, our family's fate depends on this. We need that connection with the Walheims. You are my precious youngest daughter, so do your job and marry. Bianca rubs her sore shoulder. Despite having no emotions, her moral compass works perfectly. She knows right from wrong, and she knows this is wrong. If she hadn't been forced, she would never approach a guy as cynical, loser, and foul-mouthed as the past Krosh. In fact, she is the one who hates this engagement the most. Back to the present. Krosh enters the hall, now clean and scented, ready to change history. He approaches Bianca with a nervous smile, trying to erase the jerk image he left last time. Wow, he says, looking at the teacup on the table. I can't believe they served you tea so hot. I know you have a very sensitive tongue, right? I'll talk to the maids so they are more careful next time. Bianca freezes. Well, more than usual. She sits there, expressionless, with her cupcake half eaten. How the hell does he know she has a cat tongue and can't handle hot things? It's a fact she never told him. Krosh, trying to break the ice, pun intended, looks out the window. The weather is incredible today. How about we go to the garden? I'm sure there are many flowers here that don't grow in the north. And before leaving, he turns to Arioto and drops another info bomb. Arioto, please bring some macadamia cookies to the garden. They are for her. As they walk through the mansion paths, Krosh tries to make casual conversation. I'm sure the trip was long and tiring, right? Bianca, with her usual robotic tone, replies, since we are engaged, it is my duty to come. We should see each other more often. Krosh lets out a chuckle and tells her, wow, with that tone it sounds like you say it more out of obligation than desire. Bianca stays silent, but her eyes scan him from top to bottom. Definitely, something doesn't add up. The last time she saw him, this kid had a cutting gaze, full of hate and self-pity. But today he feels like a completely different person. He is calm, kind, and the most disturbing part of all. How did he know macadamia cookies are her favorite? Those cookies are a state secret. Upon reaching the center of the garden, Bianca can't hold her curiosity anymore. She stops dead and fires the million-dollar question. Are you really Krosh? Time freezes. Both stare at each other in a duel of gazes. Krosh gets serious. Do I really look so different from before? He asks. But here he makes a rookie mistake. By getting serious, he unintentionally releases a bit of his aura. And it's not just any aura. It's the bloodlust of a guy who survived the apocalypse, killed monsters, and saw the end of the world. Bianca, who has warrior instincts, notices it instantly. Her body reacts to the danger. She makes a quick bow and apologizes, almost trembling. I'm sorry, I spoke without thinking. Please, forgive me. Krosh realizes he messed up. Crap, he thinks. I didn't want to intimidate her. My killer aura slipped out. He tries to remember how he treated Bianca in the past to imitate it, but his memories of that time are blurry. The only thing he remembers clearly is that expressionless look on her face. The same empty expression she had on the day of her death in the future. That thought gives him a pang in the heart, but he needs a quick excuse to justify his personality change and sudden power. Ha ha ha, don't worry, he says, putting on his best, nothing to see here smile. It's normal for you to be surprised. The truth is, I recently made a contract with a god. The old reliable. In a world of magic, blaming the gods solves everything. Bianca processes the information and nods. I see. So your personality changed due to the contract's influence. Congratulations on your pact. She buys it completely. Krosh breathes a sigh of relief. That being said, continues Krosh, getting serious again, I have something to propose to you. Bianca looks at him with suspicion. What would someone who just got divine power want from a cursed girl like me? She thinks. Immediately, her mind goes to the worst possible scenario. Is this about annulling the marriage? She asks bluntly. Krosh blinks, confused. Huh. Why would you think that? Well, he stammers. I understand you don't want to marry a guy like me with my reputation and all that, but saying it so suddenly. Bianca looks at him like he's an alien. She doesn't understand how someone from the proud Walheim family can have such rock-bottom self-esteem, especially if he just made a pact with a god. She sighs, resigned but firm, and drops a line that leaves Krosh out of the game. Krosh, I am your fiancé. And that won't change. Krosh stands there like a statue. His cheeks turn red as a tomato. It's been years, or lives, since he heard someone speak to him with such sincerity and loyalty, without ulterior motives. The dark hero is left speechless before the honesty of the ice girl. Krosh decides it's time to get down to business. He clears his throat, looks Bianca in the eyes, and drops the bomb. With the ability I just awakened, I want your curse. Yes, give me your snowman. Bianca is left processing the information like an old computer running Windows 98. What did he just say? He wants to take the curse stuck to her soul since birth? That thing not even the most famous curse breakers on the continent could scratch? Krosh, seeing her doubt, doubles down like a desperate used car salesman. I'm serious. I plan to take the curse for myself. I have a specific use for it. And listen closely. If you give it to me, I will grant you any wish. Whatever you want. Even if your wish is to annul this damn marriage and never see each other again. The offer is tempting, but Bianca's brain connects the dots in a totally unexpected way. She starts analyzing Krosh's life. He is the black sheep, the Walheim trash, despised by his brother, eclipsed by his sister, and treated like old furniture by his father. The rift between him and his lineage is so big you could build a mall in the middle. So she arrives at a logical, but totally wrong, conclusion. Poor thing, she thinks. He is so sick of suffering, so tired of emotional pain, that he prefers to steal my curse to stop feeling. He wants to become a robot like me to not suffer anymore. The girl remembers the words of an old mental mage she met a while ago. The old man told her, "Be careful, child. When a person reaches their psychological limit, their mind collapses. Some choose to unsubscribe from life, others change their personality overnight. Those sudden changes are the sign of an imminent end. If you see someone like that, don't leave them alone or they will break." Bingo! For Bianca, all the pieces fit. Krosh's attitude change, his sudden kindness, his desire to lose emotions. The guy is a potential rage quitter of life. Bianca, moved by an almost maternal sense of duty, takes Krosh's hand delicately. "Krosh, listen to me," she tells him with her monotonous but firm tone. "Everything will be okay. You don't need to curse yourself to escape. You just need to learn to control your emotions, not delete them. I will help you." Krosh short-circuits. He blushes up to his ears. "Huh. Wait, I think you're misunderstanding me. I just want the power." But Bianca interrupts him, determined to save him from his depression. "Say no more. I'm going to come visit you more often. What's more, I'm going to talk to my father to see if I can move into a nearby residence. You need supervision and support." Krosh enters internal panic mode. Red alert. She's sticking to him. "Wait a second," he exclaims nervously. "Why are you saying those things all of a sudden? Let's be honest. You hate me, right? You don't even really want to marry me, do you?" Bianca stares at him and answers with brutal sincerity. "Even if that were true, and even if I don't like you, I can't simply turn around and abandon you when you are on the edge of the abyss." Krosh feels a critical hit to his ego. Ouch. She didn't even deny she hates me, he thinks, depressed for a second. Basically, she told me, "I dislike you, but I don't want you to off yourself." He realizes Bianca is one of those intense people who, when an idea gets into their head, go all in until the end. He has created a huge misunderstanding, but explaining that he actually wants her curse to become a war god sounds even worse than the self-deletion theory. "Fine, if she won't give it to me the easy way, we'll do it the hard way," Krosh decides. The protagonist activates his thief mode. While she talks to him, he summons the Black Hood in secret, trying to rip out the snowman curse all at once. But then, system error. 2 floating objects appear before his eyes. 2 massive magic locks blocking the theft. Krosh curses internally. 2 locks. Seriously? Normally curses don't have anti-theft security. But of course, Bianca was born with this. For her, the curse isn't a disease, it's part of her identity, of who she is. Her subconscious values it, and that creates the locks. Krosh reads the first lock's condition and almost falls over backwards. Unlock condition. Become a true friend of Bianca. "Are you kidding me?" He screams mentally. This is harder than killing the Demon King. The condition is to become friends with the White Demon, a girl who literally has no emotions. How do you become friends with someone who doesn't feel joy, or fun, or empathy? It's hardcore mode for social relationships. Besides, this presents a strategic dilemma. If he lets Bianca go back to her toxic family, the constant abuse will accelerate her transformation into the villain who destroys the world. But if he keeps her close, he has to play house and earn her friendship to steal her power. Krosh does a quick calculation. 1. Keeping her close prevents her from turning evil. 2. Becoming her friend unlocks the lock. 3. Stealing the curse makes him invincible. It's a 3-4-1 deal. Killing 3 birds with 1 stone. He has no other option but to accept the role of fiancé in rehab. Krosh takes a deep breath, puts on his best good boy face, and tells her, "You're right, Bianca. I appreciate your words very much. I would love to see my fiancé more often. It would be an honor to have you close." Bianca nods, satisfied with her emergency intervention. "Good. But first I have to consult with my father and organize the move. It won't be immediate." They say goodbye at the entrance. Bianca gets into her carriage and starts the journey back, convinced she saved a life today. Krosh watches her leave and makes his own time calculations. It will probably take her at least a month to fix everything and return, he thinks. That gives me free time. A month without psychologist Bianca's surveillance. Perfect time to lock himself in the secret library and devour as many forbidden manuals as he can. Things are getting complicated, and if he has to become friends with an ice cube, he better be strong enough not to freeze in the attempt. But turns out our protagonist is better at stealing curses than guessing the future. The next day, just when Krosh was enjoying his morning coffee and his solitude, a rumble is heard outside the mansion. Looking out, he finds a parade of carriages and an army of workers unloading boxes as if they were setting up a stage for a concert. And there, in the middle of the chaos, a hand rises to greet him. "Good morning, Krosh," says Bianca with her usual poker face. What are you doing here?" He stammers, watching his free time plans go down the drain. "I decided to move in today," she replies with total naturalness. "That way we can spend more time together and monitor your condition." Krosh is left in shock, mouth open. His peace didn't even last 24 hours. This girl's efficiency is terrifying. He didn't expect her to move so fast. But of course, when psychologist Bianca sets out to save you from yourself, she doesn't waste time. Days pass and cohabitation becomes, let's say, peculiar. Krosh opens his eyes one morning and feels a weight next to him. Turning around, he finds the fearsome white demon, the future destroyer of worlds, sleeping soundly with a little drool running down her cheek. Krosh sighs. This has already become routine. "Hey, wake up," he tells her, shaking her a bit. "People are going to start making up gossip if they see us sleeping in the same bed." Bianca opens one eye, wipes the drool with the back of her hand, and looks at him confused, brain still in airplane mode. "Good morning," she murmurs. "What are you doing here?" Krosh looks at her with disbelief. "What do you mean, what am I doing here? That's my line. This is my room." Shortly after, we leave the domestic drama and switch to action. Krosh is sweating buckets while training his aura. He takes the moment to reflect. A few months have already passed since his fiancée settled in like another piece of furniture in the house. He remembers moving day, when he asked her how the hell she got permission so fast. Bianca answered him bluntly, "My family accepted immediately." Krosh connects the dots. Of course, he thinks. Since she has no emotions, she has no attachment either. And her family, those hardened heart bastards, were surely wishing to get rid of the cursed girl. Although it's sad, for Krosh it's a tactical advantage. If she has nowhere to go, it's easier to force cohabitation and work on that, become her friend, Locke. Time flies when you're having fun, or when you train like a maniac. Summer says goodbye and winter is already knocking on the door. The year is about to end, and that only means one thing in this fantasy world. School season is coming. But we aren't talking about just any school. We are talking about the inauguration of Lahilan Academy. Imagine a place founded by the Four Kingdoms and the Empire, designed exclusively to create monster-killing machines capable of stopping the world erosion. The age range to enter is 15 to 20 years old. Krosh has a dangerous gleam in his eyes remembering that place. Before his regression, that academy was the factory that produced the famous Blue Sky generation. Yes, those same wretches with ridiculously broken abilities who betrayed him in the future. Krosh grits his teeth so hard he almost breaks them. This time it will be different, he murmurs with an evil smile. Now I know their weaknesses, their secrets, and their attack patterns. His plan isn't to go study and get good grades. No. His plan is to turn the academy into his personal buffet. Once he enrolls, he plans to steal every broken ability within his reach. He is going to suck the golden generation dry. The problem is age. Krosh is about to turn 14, which means he has a whole year before he can enroll. A year of mandatory grinding. But here comes the obstacle. His talent has a cap. Even with Damaris's secret manuals, his body has hit a wall. His current limit is expert level. To break that barrier and reach Aura Master, he needs to master extreme blood poison. And for that, he needs Bianca's curse as coolant no matter what. It is a vicious circle. Krosh finishes his session, frustrated, and leaves the training room. And guess who is there, standing like a post, waiting for him? "Here you are," Bianca says. "I'm always here," he replies. She tells him she can't leave him alone. Since she arrived, she has become his shadow. She follows him to the bathroom, to the kitchen, to training. The problem for Krosh is that she doesn't look at him with "I want to be your friend" eyes. She looks at him with the eyes of a nurse taking care of a psychiatric patient. She sees me as someone she has to watch so he doesn't unsubscribe from life, thinks Krosh, overwhelmed. Like this, I'm never going to unlock the friendship lock. I'm in the patient zone. In that moment of existential crisis, Arioto enters to the rescue, or to complicate everything, depends on how you look at it. "Young master," announces the butler. An invitation has arrived. It is for the Star Sanctuary. Krosh raises an eyebrow. The Star Sanctuary is basically the end-of-year party for the miners of the Staron Kingdom. An annual gathering where nobles go to flex, form bonds, and expand their contacts. In his past life, Krosh was the weirdo who lived locked in the basement, so he never went. He has no memories of that event. His instinct tells him it's a waste of time, but then his strategist brain turns on. Wait, he deduces. If it's a gathering of all the important nobles, it is very likely that a certain boy will be there. Krosh decides it's worth going, even if only to test the waters and, incidentally, fulfill the promise he made to Arioto. "Arioto, tell them I will attend," orders Krosh. But before the butler can leave, a monotonous voice intervenes from the corner. "I will go too," says Bianca, inviting herself without hesitation. Arioto, who doesn't want to get involved in couple fights, makes a quick bow. "Understood. I will prepare everything for both of you." And he withdraws, leaving Krosh with his shadow, glued to his heels, and a high society party on the horizon that promises to be anything but boring. Bianca, always grounded, and with the coldness of an iceberg, throws a warning to her fiancé. "Krosh, be realistic. As soon as you set foot in that party, they are going to eat you alive. The other guests won't hesitate to criticize and humiliate you for your failure status." Krosh shrugs, adjusting his shirt collar with total tranquility. "You are probably right," he admits. "And to be honest, they won't just come for me. I don't even want to imagine the horrible things they could say to you for being with me. So, thinking about it, maybe it would be better if you stayed home and spared yourself the bad time." Seems like a logical suggestion, right? But Bianca isn't programmed to run away. Immediately, she locks eyes with him and drops a resounding, "No. We will go together." And she adds with crushing logic, "After all, protecting their partner is a fiancé's job. If they are going to insult you, I will be there to hit back. Or at least to freeze the mood." Krosh is surprised by such ironclad loyalty. Without thinking much, he raises his hand and strokes her head gently. "I wasn't asking as your fiancé nor as an order," he tells her with a softer voice than usual. "I just wanted to know your true feelings. You don't have to force yourself." That simple gesture, the head pat, causes a short circuit in Bianca's emotional system. She notices something in Krosh's eyes. Pity. But it's not condescending pity, it's warmth. Her mind travels through a montage of the last few months. Since she moved in, Krosh has treated her in an abnormally kind way. He makes her breakfast. What noble does that? Holds her hand so she doesn't trip, and most shockingly, stays watching over her while she takes naps under the shade of the trees in the garden. Bianca reflects, "Nobody, absolutely nobody in my life had treated me with such warmth." Even though her first impression of him was terrible, remember the door slam and the screaming, she can't help admitting the scale has tipped. I don't dislike him anymore. At all, she thinks, surprised with herself. With that new conviction, she lifts her head and tells him firmly, I will go with you. And not out of commitment or duty. I'm going because I want to go. Of my own free will. Krosh, hearing that, can't help but smile. Looks like the friendship lock is loosening a little bit more. Score 1 for the protagonist. Cut to the road. The carriage advances, and in the distance the palace where the Star Sanctuary is held can be seen. It is a structure so ridiculously luxurious it screams, we have money to burn, from all four sides. Gold, marble, infinite gardens. Absolute waste. Here we take a lore parenthesis to understand why the hell these people have so much power. Nobles are supposed to be respected and feared in this world for a reason. They have the mana and resources to fight against the world erosion. They are the first line of defense, the protectors of the commoners. The reality. Well, it's disappointing. Young nobles drunk on power who have never lifted a sword in their lives. They refuse to train and prefer spending their time on parties, gossip, and fashion. Krosh lets out a sigh loaded with mental sarcasm. Is the future of the Staron Kingdom really in the hands of these clowns? We are screwed. Finally, the dynamic duo arrives at the entrance. Krosh adjusts his posture, seriously doubting he is going to find anyone with 2 brain cells in this nest of vipers. And, as expected, as soon as they cross the threshold, the hate begins. It's like they logged into Twitter. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Look who arrived. It's the Walheim family failure. And that's the fiancé? What a waste. Such beauty thrown in the trash on the cursed daughter. I heard they are engaged. Gross. Stay away, lest their bad luck rubs off on us. The atmosphere is toxic at radioactive levels. But watch out, among so many plastic nobles, there are some who shine with their own light. The camera moves to a VIP balcony where 3 figures observe Krosh's entrance with genuine interest. Wow, someone interesting has arrived, says one of them. Easter egg alert. We are seeing 3 characters who in the future will be legends, key members of the Blue Sky generation. We have Barak Hagma, alias Tiger Boy, a beast in melee combat. Beside him is Elgin Amelia, known as Magpie, a lethal strategist. And the third is Annex Glazer, the Wood Bow, a sniper who never misses. These 3 teenagers are destined to be known as the 3 heroes of Staron. No big deal. Krosh, who has eyes in the back of his head, notices their gazes. But he doesn't fool himself. He knows perfectly well why they are looking at him. It's not for his charisma, it's for his last name. Or rather, for his sister. Surely they are looking for Charlotte, deduces Krosh. However, he remembers a conversation with his monstrous sister. She told him clearly that the last time she came to this party she got so bored she almost fell asleep, because she found no one capable of beating her. So this year she decided to Olympically skip the event. Sorry guys, the final boss didn't come today, thinks Krosh mockingly. Meanwhile, Bianca notices Krosh is distracted and assumes the insults are affecting him. Krosh, don't listen to what those idiots say, she whispers, trying to be his emotional shield. But Krosh returns from his thoughts about Charlotte and looks at her. He realizes Bianca is also receiving her dose of venom from the gossipers, but she seems to give 0 damns. Her poker face remains intact. Her only worry is him. Wow, she really takes protecting me seriously, he thinks, grateful. Don't worry, Bianca, he replies with a calm smile. It doesn't affect me at all. Dog barks don't bother the lion. Or something like that. But Krosh didn't come here to make friends or eat canapes. His eyes scan the room looking for a specific person. The only reason he agreed to come to this rat's nest. Where is he? He asks himself impatiently. Is he not coming? Just when he starts thinking the trip was a waste of time, trumpets sound and the party announcer clears his throat to make an important announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you were all waiting for. Lord Darling Danfelion has arrived. The double doors swing wide open. And there he is. The most eccentric character on the server. Known as the weirdest among the weird. The #1 attention-seeking lord, hailing from the mysterious alchemist castle, Darling Danfelion. The narrative throws a flashback straight to our face, showing us the first encounter between Krosh and this guy in the past life. Darling Danfilian found our MC turned into puree. But instead of calling an ambulance or feeling pity, Darling inspects him with an almost sickly passion. He looks at the curse marks running through Krosh's body as if admiring a piece of abstract art and drops the bomb. He believes he can fix him. While poor Krosh is there, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and half dead, Darling starts shaking him like a rag doll, asking him, or rather demanding, that he become his official lab rat. Obviously, Krosh doesn't even have the energy to blink, let alone sign an informed consent form. So Darling applies the logic of silence gives consent, and decides that's a resounding yes. Then, the guy leans towards him, getting slow and dangerous. The atmosphere gets tense and weird, because it looks like he's about to plant a movie kiss on him. But even on the brink of death, Krosh's instincts work. He pulls strength out of nowhere and plants his hand on his face to push him away. Not even dead was he going to let this eccentric weirdo steal his first kiss. Back to the present, Darling's triumphal entrance at the party is quite a show. The noble ladies lose their composure, squealing and whispering about how cute and exotic he is. Krosh, who already knows these tricks, spots the play instantly. This guy didn't arrive late because of traffic, he arrived late on purpose to ensure all eyes were on him. A master of personal branding. But before going to war, you have to secure the backline. Krosh fishes a piece of cake from the table and hands it to Bianca with the same tactic one would use to distract a toddler. The mission is simple: stay here, eat cake, and don't kill anyone while I talk to the weirdo. Bianca, proving she has her priorities straight, accepts the sugary bribe and stays quiet enjoying dessert. With the beast tamed, Krosh approaches his target. Darling, who has his radar on, notices his presence immediately and a strange feeling of déjà vu hits his brain. Krosh introduces himself formally, but the moment the word Walheim leaves his mouth, Darling's eyes light up like car headlights. He quickly connects the dots, notices the family resemblance, and asks with an almost fanatical gleam if he is Charlotte's younger brother. Without missing a beat, Darling unfolds his ego and asks the million-dollar question. What can I do for you? Did you go mute before my dazzling beauty? But Krosh isn't here for seduction games or ego stroking. He cuts him off dry, cold, and straight to the jugular. So you've been researching eroders, right? Is that enough to catch your interest? Darling's smile changes. It's no longer the smile of a narcissist, but that of someone who just found an interesting toy. He tells him he's a provocative brat, but the bait worked. He warns him he better be prepared to back up those words and takes him to a private room, far from prying ears. Once in private, the vibe changes drastically. Darling walks to a counter where several weapons rest and, like someone asking about the weather, asks Krosh's age while picking up 2 swords. Krosh replies he is 13, wondering what the hell that has to do with anything. But Darling, with a clinical eye, points out that his aura is ridiculously dense for a kid that age. Inside, Krosh knows the reason is that mentally he is an adult traumatized by the apocalypse, but out loud he drops the classic shonen protagonist excuse. I just want to get stronger as soon as possible. And then, bam! Without warning, without a countdown, and without a referee, Darling throws one of the swords at him and attacks to kill. Krosh barely manages to react in time, blocking the steel with his own in a clash of sparks. What the hell are you doing? He complains, because, honestly, that is no way to treat a guest. Darling replies with terrifying calm that he simply wants to see what the famous Charlotte's little brother is made of. For Krosh, this is a monumental pain in the ass. He came to talk business, not to sweat. While steel clashes and thrusts fly, Darling tries to keep a casual conversation, asking if he didn't have something to tell him. Krosh gets serious, deflects a lethal attack with impeccable technique, and leaves Darling frustrated and, above all, surprised. Wasn't this kid supposed to be the black sheep? The talentless Walheim failure? While they cross swords in a deadly dance across the room, Krosh clarifies that the failure thing is in the past, that he has been training day and night. And taking advantage of a pause in combat, he drops his true offer, the reason he sought out the weirdest guy in the kingdom. I want to help you with your research to neutralize curses. Darling stops, processing the information. The surprise is genuine. He lowers his guard for an instant and looks at him with pure skepticism. A 13-year-old kid who knows how to use a sword and now claims to know about advanced science? He questions him directly. What the hell does a brat like him know about alchemy to have the audacity to say he can cooperate with a genius? While swords keep clashing and throwing sparks, Krosh decides it's the perfect moment to drop his sales pitch. He explains that he knows perfectly well what Darling is working on. A crazy research to neutralize curses using other curses. A theory so wild that not even the best curse breakers on the continent have dared to touch it. But of course, if Darling wants to stop being a theorist and become a first-class alchemist, he needs to prove his madness works in the real world. And that's where our MC enters. With a determination that scares, he tells him that he will be the one to help him prove it. To demonstrate it's not just talk, he activates his ability in front of him and explains he can absorb curses. Upon seeing Krosh's absorption power, Darling's defenses drop and his jaw hits the floor. A mad scientist smile draws across Darling's face. His brain starts working at 1,000 miles per hour. If what this kid says is true, he just found the ultimate guinea pig to confirm his theories. So, getting to the point, he asks what he wants in exchange for offering his body to science. And since Darling can't help being Darling, he lets out a mocking giggle and asks with a flirtatious tone, "What's up? Do you want me to be your boyfriend or something?" Krosh looks at him with a, "What the hell are you talking about?" face that kills the mood instantly. Ignoring the indecent proposal, he explains his true price. Given that he plans to dedicate himself to stealing and absorbing industrial quantities of curses in the future, he needs Darling to manufacture personalized medicines to reduce the side effects and prevent his body from exploding. Darling accepts without hesitation. After all, creating experimental drugs is his specialty. But while looking at him, he can't help thinking about the rumors. It was said that Krosh was a broken toy, someone whose motivation had been crushed by constant comparisons to his sister Charlotte. But seeing the boy in front of him, he realizes the rumors were trash. In fact, the idea of how amazing both siblings are gives him chills of pleasure and a blush that borders on fetishistic. With emotion on the surface, Darling needs to know more and throws the million-dollar question. "Are you going to the Laheelan Academy they just founded?" Krosh replies with an obviously yes, although his motives are much less academic. He is thinking of the academy as an all-you-can-eat buffet full of students with skills ready to be stolen. Hearing the confirmation, Darling has another one of his intellectual micro-orgasms, trembling with pure anticipation. The deal is sealed. Darling will manufacture all the drugs Krosh needs in exchange for using him as his personal test subject. Krosh observes him and thinks this guy hasn't changed a bit from his past life. He is still the same eccentric genius. But Krosh has one more card up his sleeve. He asks if he knows the discoloration disease. Darling gets serious for the first time. Of course he knows it. It's that incurable plague where the skin turns black progressively until the victim dies. Without hesitating, Krosh asks him to create a cure for it. Darling freezes, looking at him as if he were crazy. Do you not know what the word incurable means? Krosh, however, knows things Darling doesn't. He knows that in the original timeline, this same alchemist managed to create the cure, although it took him many years in the future. So he decides to speed up the process. He extends his fist in front of him and, appealing directly to his massive ego, tells him firmly that he is sure he can do it. The tactic works perfectly. Darling smiles, recognizing the kid knows exactly how to stroke his pride, and accepts the challenge by fist bumping him. The pact is sealed. As soon as the medicine is ready, he will let him know. Before leaving and abandoning the alchemist with his scientific fantasies, Krosh stops in the doorframe. There is something that has been going around his head. He turns and fires the question. "Hey, Darling, it's obvious from a mile away that you like my sister Charlotte, right?" Darling doesn't even flinch. With the honesty of a tragic poet, he confesses bluntly that he loves Charlotte madly. But then, Krosh frowns. If he likes his sister so much, why the hell was he joking a moment ago about Krosh being his boyfriend? The math doesn't add up. Darling looks at him with condescending tenderness, like someone explaining quantum physics to a hamster, and tells him he is still a kid. That's why he doesn't understand the complexity of love. And there he drops the bomb. He confesses with total naturalness that he likes men too. Basically, Darling doesn't discriminate. He swings both ways, and his heart has room for the entire Walheim family if necessary. Hearing that, Krosh's blood freezes. A stranger danger alarm rings in his head, and without saying goodbye, he runs down the hallway at full speed, trying to put as much distance as possible between him and his new partner. Back in the relative safety of the main hall, and after checking that Darling isn't chasing him, Krosh catches his breath and remembers that, indeed, that guy was always that intense. But his moment of relief lasts little. Something catches his attention. A group of guests has huddled in a circle, murmuring and watching a pitiful spectacle. Curiosity turns to instant fury upon approaching. In the center of the circle is Bianca, his fiancée. But she isn't eating cake peacefully. A guy has grabbed her violently, squeezing her wrist with such force that the hand mark is getting printed on her pale skin. In that second, Krosh's brain disconnects from diplomacy and enters berserker mode. Pissed off is an understatement to describe him. Without thinking twice, Krosh launches into action with the subtlety of a missile. He delivers a flying dropkick straight to the aggressor's face. With a technique so impeccable, he sends the guy flying through the air, landing meters back like a sack of potatoes. While the subject rubs his head, stunned and wondering what truck just ran him over, Krosh plants himself in front of him. His aura is no longer that of a child scared by a bisexual alchemist, but that of a predator protecting his own. He looks down on him with terrifying coldness and drops, "Taking my fiancé by force. Who the hell do you think you are?" The messenger, trying to recover dignity from the floor, tries to play the victim card, screaming that everything is a terrible misunderstanding. But Krosh, with patience in the red numbers, barks at him that there is nothing to understand. The guy put his dirty hands on a 12-year-old girl. For Krosh, that has only one name: trash. Cornered, the guy spills the beans and hides behind bureaucracy. He says he was just following direct orders from the local princess, Claudia. Krosh raises an eyebrow. Claudia Staron? The guy, breathing heavily, confirms it. The princess ordered to bring Bianca before her, but since the girl flatly refused, he had to apply brute force. What was he supposed to do? Disobey a royal order? Krosh turns to look at Bianca, who is still rubbing her mistreated wrist. His mind starts connecting the dots at light speed. Bianca is the daughter of the Hardenhearts, the rulers of the north, yes, but her curse has made the nobility treat her like she's invisible. Why does the princess suddenly have a VIP interest in her? It makes no sense. Unless there is a puppet master behind it. And there the penny drops. Annex. That disgusting guy who obsessively stalked Charlotte, Krosh's sister. Since Charlotte kicked his butt, Annex developed a sick love-hate obsession towards her. And since he isn't man enough to beat the big sister, now he has fixed his aim on the weakest link. The younger brother, Krosh. Krosh sighs, tired of having to deal with other people's trauma. With a serious face, he sentences that isn't reason enough to drag Bianca into their mind games. The messenger starts cold sweating, fearing for his life, but Krosh informs him he will go himself. But he won't go see the princess. He will go straight to the source of the problem. Annex. The messenger, confused, asks why. Krosh looks at him with pity and delivers a blow to his pride. You don't even understand why they gave you that order? Your intuition really sucks. Without wasting more time, he takes Bianca by the hand and they move away from there, leaving the guy with his confusion. While they walk through the hallways, a doubt assaults Krosh. Why did Bianca risk disobeying a direct order from royalty? Curiosity wins and he asks her directly. She, with the most absolute innocence, answers without hesitation. You told me to wait there, so I didn't plan on moving. Krosh stands there like a statue. She ignored a princess just because he told her wait? A smile escapes him and, rewarding that blind loyalty, he gives her some gentle head pats telling her, well done. Finally they reach the door where Annex the rat is hiding, but before they can enter, they run into a human obstacle. A guy receives them with a generic villain line, so you came. Krosh, with no time for beating around the bush, tells him he is coming for Annex. The subject, with a laughing attitude that bodes nothing good, confirms Annex left instructions to let him pass if he appeared. Krosh scans the doorman and recognizes him instantly. Barak Hogma, alias Tiger Boy. A prodigy swordsman who fights with dags and has a personality as unstable as a grenade with the pin pulled. Definitely someone you don't want to tangle with in a narrow hallway. Krosh tries to ignore the danger and goes straight to the door, but Barak interrupts him, blocking his path. With a sharp smile, he tells him he is also curious about the famous Krosh. Krosh tries to use logic and reminds him that fighting is strictly forbidden in the Star Sanctuary. But Barak cares little to nothing about rules. He replies that he already fought Charlotte in the past, so he doesn't see what the problem is if he has a little fun with the brother too. He says it with confidence, while thinking internally that Krosh looks much weaker and edible than his monstrous sister. Krosh does a quick threat analysis in his head. He remembers that this Barak guy, despite his laughing attitude, managed to last much longer against his monstrous sister Charlotte than Anix himself. Even among experts, Tiger Boy's skill is slightly superior. To be honest, Krosh would prefer 1,000 times to avoid an unnecessary fight and save the energy, but looking at Barak's eyes, he realizes there is no diplomatic option. That guy has the look of a pit bull that won't let go of the bone. With no other choice, Krosh clenches his fist, sighs internally, and drops a dry "All right." As soon as he finishes the sentence, action explodes. Krosh throws an initial punch to measure distance, but Barak dodges it with a circus-worthy pirouette, mocking his opponent's speed. But Krosh isn't playing fair. He concentrates his aura in his foot and connects a calculated low kick that destabilizes the swordsman's stance. With the guard open, Krosh shows no mercy. He charges his fist and connects a brutal blow straight to the abdomen. The instant strike. The impact is dry and devastating. Barak falls to the ground, visibly affected, as if he just received a mule kick to the stomach. Krosh looks at him from above and sighs, thinking it's over, but to his surprise, the guy tries to stand up shaking, accusing Krosh of not holding back at all. Krosh, with all the logic in the world, reminds him he was the one who asked for the fight. But Barak is a first-class masochist. He stands up with a sick excitement in his eyes and asks to continue, but this time requests permission to draw his weapons and get serious. Krosh looks at him with disbelief and asks in a mocking tone, "Weapons? More importantly, do you really think you can keep standing?" Barak smiles with determination, ready for round 2, while a trickle of blood runs down his nose. It looks like an epic overcoming scene until, poof. His lights go out suddenly and he collapses on the floor like a sack of potatoes, unconscious. Bianca, who has been watching the whole show, asks him what the hell that hit was. Krosh explains he used the instant strike, a secret art of the Walheems, but not of the nobles, but of the clan's outcasts. An ugly, dirty technique, but incredibly destructive at close range, capable of piercing armor if it connects right. It's one of those dirty tricks Krosh rescued from the ashes of his past life, and that saved his hide countless times when magic failed. Seeing that Tiger Boy is out of combat, Krosh sentences that, after taking his strongest technique, that guy won't get up for a good while. So, olympically ignoring the body lying in the hallway, he tells Bianca it's time to enter. They open the door without knocking and find a soap opera scene. Anix is on the balcony accompanied by another girl. The woman, seeing Barak lying in the hallway, freaks out and runs out of the room to help him, leaving the two boys alone. Anix, trying to keep his cool, admits he's surprised Krosh managed to defeat his watchdog. But Krosh isn't here for flattery or empty chat. He goes straight to the point. "You used the princess and my fiancé just to get my attention. Well, congratulations. Here I am." Anix scans him up and down, confused. The strength he showed in the hallway doesn't add up with what he knew. "Were the rumors fake?" he asks. But Krosh shakes his head. With calculating coldness, he confirms the rumors are true. He is a talentless failure to his family. But if a failure manages to defeat you, then the rumors will have to change a bit, don't you think? And while saying this with a defiant smile, Krosh mentally prepares for what he really came to do: steal his skill. Anix Glazer looks down on Krosh, with that typical smug look of someone thinking they are stepping on an ant. And that extremely punchable attitude is the perfect trigger for Krosh's memory to travel to the past, reminding us why this guy deserves something worse than a kick. In his previous life, both shared a desk at the academy and ended up in the same Azure Generation squad. To the world they were inseparable, best friends. But Krosh knew the fine print of the contract. Anix only called him friend because he was useful. It was a friendship as fake as plastic. The memory takes us to a disastrous mission where the plan was conspicuous by its absence. As expected, they fell into a ridiculous trap and, in the blink of an eye, almost the entire team ended up turned into human shish kebabs at the bottom of a precipice. Everyone impaled, except two, Krosh, who was hanging agonizingly from the cliff's edge clinging to life with his fingernails, and Anix, who was safe on solid ground, watching it all like someone watching a boring movie. Krosh, desperate, asks him for help. But Anix, instead of reaching out, pulls out the mental calculator. He starts muttering that if the higher-ups find out they fell into such a stupid trap because of him, he would lose his precious spot in the Azure generation. His reputation would go down the drain. But then, a light bulb lights up with a macabre idea. If he is the only survivor, no one will know it was his incompetence that killed them. Krosh, who can't believe what he's hearing, screams at him to stop talking nonsense, that even if he survives alone, they will expel him for losing the whole team. But Anix smiles with a cynicism that freezes the blood. He already has the perfect scapegoat. He tells him he will blame everything on Krosh. After all, Krosh is already hated by his peers, so everyone will believe without hesitation that the useless one was who ruined the mission. With monumental shamelessness, Anix thanks him for being his friend until the end, basically thanking him for dying to save his career. Krosh, irritated and hanging over the abyss, decides not to die quietly. He demands he stop being ridiculous, that they were never real friends. He spits the truth in his face. I already understood you were only stuck to me like a leech because you wanted to get to my sister. And there the truth comes out. Krosh reminds him that the mission disaster happened because Anix had his head in the clouds, distracted and depressed because Charlotte announced she was getting married. Anix's face changes. That truth hurt more than a punch. With a look of pure contempt, he tells Krosh that's why he hates him so much. He doesn't have a drop of martial talent, but his intuition for reading people is disgustingly good. Anix sentences the end of their friendship. He tells him coldly that, if Charlotte is marrying someone else, there is no point pretending he likes the younger brother anymore. He walks away from the edge, leaving Krosh to his fate, while thinking maliciously that this works out perfectly. That way Charlotte won't be able to have a happy wedding if she has to organize a funeral at the same time. A twisted plan worthy of a salty psychopath. Krosh, with no strength to hold on anymore, lets go. While falling into the void waiting for the final impact, he wonders if this is how his story ends. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. An unexpected hand catches him in the air. It's Arthur, the hero. That was the moment they met and became partners, marking the start of another cycle of misfortunes we already know well. The only good thing about that day was that, thanks to Arthur's testimony, Anix ended up expelled from the Azure generation. Karma sometimes takes time, but it arrives. Back to the tense present, Anix breaks the silence with an observation that makes our MC grind his teeth. He tells him that both his way of speaking and his face are identical to Charlotte's. Krosh realizes immediately, this guy hasn't changed a bit. He is still the same obsessive creep as always. Don't talk about my sister so casually with that dirty mouth, Krosh warns him. Without waiting for an invitation, Krosh turns on his aura and launches the attack, decided to shut his mouth with punches, while shouting at him that he is right about something. He looks so much like his sister that, just like her, he accepts any fight that crosses his path, especially if it is to crush a cockroach like him. Anix watches Krosh's attack with the calm of someone watching it rain. He doesn't even bother dodging. He simply activates his skill and, in a blink, a wooden log appears out of nowhere to eat the hit in his place. But Krosh doesn't miss a beat. He uses the same log as a trampoline, does a pirouette in the air, and launches a sneaky kick straight to his friend's back. However, Anix's defense is automatic. A root sprouts from the ground and blocks the impact, while another surges like a snake, grabs Krosh by the ankle, and throws him against the ground violently. Although the hit was hard, our protagonist manages to land with style, falling on his feet like a cat. Inside, Krosh admits he underestimated the traitorous rat. Anix is going to be more trouble than expected. Seeing him hesitate, Anix takes advantage to drop the provocation. Is that all you got? Do yourself a favor and get a real weapon. Here we take a technical pause to explain Makuten Tuseki, the Glazer family's secret technique. Basically, it's the power to manipulate and strengthen plants at will using aura. A pretty broken power if you're in a garden, and Annex knows how to use it. Krosh, accepting the advice with brilliant malice, says, "Alright, I'll use a weapon just like you said." He picks up a twig from the ground and, with all the seriousness in the world, tells Annex he will defeat him using his own wood. The level of disrespect is astronomical. This makes a vein pop on Annex's forehead. Furious at the mockery, he launches a massive attack with multiple roots at once, screaming at him to try blocking that with his miserable little stick. But then magic happens. Krosh starts moving with unreal fluidity, dodging every root, every thrust, and every hit with millimeter precision, receiving barely a courtesy scratch on his cheek. Annex is left jaw-dropped, in disbelief. If it were Charlotte, the family genius, he would understand. But it's Krosh, the talentless failure. How is it possible he hasn't laid a finger on him? What Annex doesn't know is that Krosh is playing with an advantage. In his past life he saw these attack patterns over and over again. Krosh is, literally, Annex's natural counter. Taking advantage of the confusion, Krosh closes the distance, gets face to face with him, and whispers pure poison. "Are you thinking about Charlotte again?" That was the final straw. Annex gets serious suddenly and, before Krosh can touch him, releases an energy burst that pushes him back. The ground shakes and Annex summons his trump card, a colossal wood giant rising above them. With a voice from the grave, he warns Krosh to be more careful with his tone. With a sadistic smile, Annex sentences, "This is the end of the line for you." The girl accompanying him panics and screams from the back, "Don't do it! If that hits him, you're going to kill him." The giant's fist, the size of a car, descends at full speed to crush Krosh. But our MC doesn't run, doesn't scream, simply closes his eyes. And here comes the knowledge power-up. We are told that, in the Walheim secret library, there was a book ignored by everyone, the thinnest on the shelf. It didn't contain complex spells, but the story of a talentless ancestor who swung his sword repeatedly until he was 80. A guy who, through pure repetition, achieved the impossible, making the user and the weapon become one. An unreachable technique for geniuses who rely on raw power, but perfect for someone like Krosh, who knows the value of obsessive effort. Krosh opens his eyes. He is no longer holding a twig. He is the twig. With a simple and fluid movement, he launches a vertical slash into the air. Time seems to stop. The giant fist stops inches from his face. And then, the entire wooden colossus splits perfectly in half, crumbling into a rain of splinters behind a paralyzed Annex. The girl and Annex watch the scene with absolute terror, unable to process what they just saw. In the background, Bianca maintains her legendary poker face, as if watching her fiancé cut monsters with a branch was just an everyday thing. Annex, shaking with real fear for the first time, sees Krosh's silhouette emerge from the dust cloud. Krosh drops the twig to the ground with disdain and throws a final warning at his so-called friend. "Don't get carried away again, got it?" Annex drops to his knees, completely defeated and with his pride dragging on the floor. But watch out, our MC isn't in a partying mood. Krosh looks paler than a ghost. His master plan was to end this fast, take Annex's ability, and leave, but he underestimated the energy cost. He put so much power into that final twig attack that his internal battery hit 0%. He can't even move a finger anymore. His body fails him and he starts wobbling like a Jenga tower, about to kiss the ground. But there Bianca comes to the rescue and manages to catch him before impact. The problem is Bianca doesn't measure her own strength. Trying to lift him, she squeezes him with such intensity that Krosh starts seeing white lights, agonizing in pain. Basically, she is crushing him with love. Darling, who was watching everything from behind with a drop of sweat on his forehead, intervenes quickly. He tells Bianca to be careful, because if she keeps carrying him with that delicacy, she's going to send him to the lobby ahead of time. He kindly suggests she step aside and let the professionals handle it. So Darling carries Krosh on his back piggyback style, as the dynamic trio walks towards the exit. People start whispering, wondering what the hell that commotion was, and the gossip starts spreading faster than a virus during flu season. Darling notices the atmosphere and smiles. Rumors fly and he knows it. He looks at poor Krosh, who is totally KO on his back, and thinks about how fearless this brat is. When he wakes up, he's gonna be more famous than a rock star. But it's not all laughs and fame. Darling's mind goes back for a second to the expression Annex made after being defeated. It wasn't the face of someone accepting a loss. It was a shady look that gives him bad vibes. His instinct tells him that Guy won't stay quiet and will try some dirty play later. Finally, the three, Darling acting as transport, Krosh in deep sleep mode, and Bianca escorting them, leave the mansion. Before crossing the threshold, Darling whispers a very serious warning to the unconscious Krosh. "Don't you even think about kicking the bucket yet. You are forbidden from unsubscribing from life until you help me with my research." We do a time skip of 1 week. We find Krosh, sword in hand, sweating bullets in his morning training. Finally, his body has decided to stop complaining and has recovered from the tremendous backlash he suffered from using the instant strike. And good thing too, because realistically, if he had gotten creative and used that technique a couple more times to corner Annex, he would have ended up much worse than his enemy. In fact, the cost was so high that Krosh spent the entire trip back in Sleeping Beauty mode. Krosh deeply regrets that little feint. Not out of embarrassment, but because losing consciousness prevented him from preparing the ground to steal Annex's ability. Here we take a technical pause to explain how the theft works. There are 2 methods for the Black Hood to work its magic. The first is the classic one, unlocking the target's mental lock, which is hard if the owner values their power. But the second method is much more twisted and fun. It consists of making the owner start believing their ability is trash. That was exactly Krosh's strategy. He didn't humiliate Annex with a twig just for fun, well, maybe a little, but because destroying an imposing wood giant with a simple stick is the perfect way to shatter someone's self-esteem. The logic is simple. If your ultimate technique is beaten by a dry branch, is your power really worth it? Krosh bets Annex is right now questioning his entire existence, which will facilitate the theft in the future. Even if it takes time, that plant ability will end up in his inventory, that's for sure. But there is no time to daydream. The clock is ticking, and he still has a year before entering the academy. If he wants to stomp on the supposed geniuses who will be walking around there, he needs to keep up this daily XP grind. However, his training session is interrupted by Arioto, his butler, who arrives with news. His brother, Barakin, has arrived at the mansion and is waiting at the door. Krosh makes a face of annoyance. He has already rejected his visits so many times it's starting to get ridiculous, so resigned, he tells Arioto to let him in once and for all. At that moment, Bianca approaches in her support role and hands him water to hydrate. But Krosh, always observant, notices a curious detail. She hands him the glass, stretching her arm to the max, trying to keep the greatest possible distance between the two. Confused by this sudden coldness, he asks her what's wrong. Bianca, with her usual brutal honesty and without changing her expression, answers that it's nothing personal, simply that he reeks of sweat. Krosh does a quick olfactory self-inspection and, unfortunately, the verdict is guilty. He smells like a cheap gym locker room. Bianca, with the delicacy that characterizes her, subtly suggests he take a bath before receiving his brother Barakin, mostly out of respect for other people's nostrils. But Krosh, who lives under the philosophy of continuous grinding, tells her to keep dreaming. The visit will be quick, and he plans to continue training immediately after. Soap will have to wait. Hearing the refusal, Bianca establishes a sanitary security perimeter and tells him, very seriously, to please not come a centimeter closer. This reaction takes our MC by surprise, but instead of getting offended, his evil gene activates. He puts on a cartoon villain face and starts chasing her around the garden, dramatically screaming that she won't be able to escape his aura. His aromatic aura. While running after her, Krosh thinks to himself that Bianca is basically like a little sister to him, and that's why he enjoys annoying her from time to time. It's his way of showing affection. But the rom-com cuts off suddenly. Krosh feels an icy presence behind his back, a chill he knows too well. For a second, his mind plays a trick on him and he imagines Arthur, the hero of his past life, standing there, looking at him with those cold and judging eyes. He can almost hear his voice asking if he is enjoying this fleeting peace. Do you really think you can stop the end of the world playing tag in your current state? The ghost seems to tell him. Krosh stops and reflects for a moment. He has to admit that, except for his final betrayal, Arthur was a workaholic who was always on the front lines, never lowering his guard for a second. Krosh wonders where the Arthur of this timeline is farming XP right now and what he might be plotting. But reality hits him hard. It's not Arthur standing behind him. It's his brother, Barakin. Barakin watches him with an expression of absolute disgust, asking if he is having fun playing tag with his fiancée like a little kid. Krosh, far from being intimidated, turns around and confronts him calmly, replying that even machines need a break once in a while so they don't overheat. Barakin scans him up and down and realizes something disturbing. The pathetic brother he remembered has disappeared. He is no longer the scared kid who trembled and looked away. Now he holds his gaze with irritating firmness. Taking advantage of the silence, Krosh throws the first verbal punch. He asks if he shouldn't be too busy to come for a social visit. And here he drops the lore bomb. He heard the prestigious academy has changed the meta. Now admission is by skills exam and not by status or connections. So, with an innocent smile, he suggests to his older brother that he should go home and study if he doesn't want to get locked out. This comment hits Barakin right in the ego. A Walheim studying to get in? What an insult! He is a direct descendant, the elite of the elite. The mere suggestion that he needs to prep like a commoner deeply irritates him. He thinks Krosh is mocking him right to his face. But like a good hypocritical noble, he swallows the venom, forces a smile that looks more like a grimace of pain, and replies dryly that it was a good joke. Barakin lets out a laugh loaded with arrogance, the kind that makes you want to restart the dialogue tree. He makes it clear to Krosh that worrying about entrance exams is a thing for commoners, for ordinary NPCs who need to try hard. For the elite like him, doors open on their own. Krosh, who has zero interest in arguing with a brick wall, simply nods and plays along with a, "Yeah, sure, whatever you say." But Barakin didn't come just to flex his VIP status. He changes the tone drastically and drops the real reason for his visit. They have been summoned to Mount Gerilak. The objective: nothing less than stopping an active outbreak of world erosion. Krosh is left processing the information. The clan rules are clearer than water. These high-risk quests are exclusive for those over 15. Sending someone younger is basically OSHA violation territory. But Barakin, with a sharp shark smile, tells him bureaucratic technicalities don't matter today. He will go personally as his responsible guardian. Besides, he adds with malice, if his dear little brother was able to mop the floor with Annex, a little apocalyptic event shouldn't scare him, right? Krosh catches the message on the fly. This isn't a cordial invite, it's a trap. Barakin wants to see him in action to measure his real power level and keep an eye on him. However, Krosh accepts without hesitation. Between staying home playing house or going out to farm real XP against the erosion, the choice is obvious. He prefers danger over boredom. Bianca, who was listening to everything from the sidelines, intervenes immediately asking where he thinks he's going. Krosh answers dryly that he's going on the mission and strictly orders her not to follow him. She, with her crushing logic and her unbreakable poker face, replies that she had no intention of going, but points out the obvious. Sending a 13-year-old kid to the front lines is absurd. It is, literally, buying a one-way ticket to the lobby way too early. That common-sense comment deeply irritates Barakin. Losing his noble composure, he looks at her with disgust and hisses, "You! This cursed woman!" But before he can finish the insult, Krosh reacts like a spring. He cuts his sentence clean off and, with an icy glare that would drop the room's temperature, reminds him he is talking about his fiancée. Tension explodes between the brothers, sparks fly, until Barakin, annoyed he can't win this round, decides to retreat. Now alone, Krosh pats Bianca's head and tells her well done for standing her ground against nobility. She answers humbly that she didn't do anything special. Before saying goodbye, Bianca makes a single request remembering last week's disaster. "Please, don't collapse again." Krosh promises to keep his HP and mana bars full this time and heads straight to the mission. The squad finally arrives at the erosion zone, and the view is lovely. If you're into nightmares. Usually, creatures from other dimensions pop out in these events, but here reality itself decided to glitch out. The terrain has completely mutated. What used to be a mountain full of lush vegetation is now a toxic and sticky swamp. Even the flies look like they hit the gym in hell, buzzing around with a "I'm not from this world" vibe. According to the reports, This erosion is classified as 3 stars. Nothing out of this world, but not a walk in the park either. Barakin, with his middle manager attitude, asks if the purification unit is already on its way. One of the soldiers replies that those guys won't lift a finger until the zone's boss has been eliminated. Basically, the janitors don't come in until the big trash is taken out. Krosh does his mental math. A 3-star erosion should be a piece of cake for a mid-level squad. And even though Barakin has the personality of a brick, you have to admit that in combat he is a tank. His level is already advanced expert. Defeating this area's final boss shouldn't take them much work. At that moment, Barakin turns to Krosh with the air of a benevolent mentor and tells him he brought him here to gain first-hand experience. Krosh puts on his best, grateful little brother face and fakes excitement. But inside he is laughing. He thinks this guy has no idea who he's talking to. Krosh has more XP in his pinky finger than the whole squad put together thanks to his past life. The only real reason he accepted this field trip is to test a provisional method to help him contain the aggro of his extreme blood skill. The squad advances while exterminating mutant bugs left and right. Some soldiers start complaining because the pests won't stop respawning. More and more keep coming. Krosh, seeing they are wasting energy, gets the attention of several guys. With a veteran's calm, he gives them a pro tip. If those bugs bite you, they absorb your energy and get stronger. So stop being easy targets and buff your whole bodies with aura. One of the soldiers looks at him with absolute admiration, eyes shining, and asks if he has ever fought the erosion before, because he moves like an expert. Krosh, remembering he needs to keep a low profile, drops the white lie. Hey, I'm only 13. It would be pretty weird if I had already faced something like this, wouldn't it? The soldier buys the lie completely, assuming he's just a natural talent. But someone isn't buying the show. Barakin watches him from behind, and envy is oozing from his pores. He wonders how the hell that cursed useless can act with such confidence if it's his first time in an erosion zone. Barakin's mind travels to his own past, remembering his first mission at 15. He was running in circles and crying for his mommy out of fear. In contrast, his younger brother is there, giving a lecture and instructing veteran warriors. The envy is so great that the veins on his forehead look about to explode. Filled with irrational rage, Barakin unleashes his power and disintegrates all remaining bugs in a fit of fury. In his paranoid mind, he realizes a terrifying truth. In the hypothetical case that Krosh has surpassed him, the title of the Walheim Failure would pass to him. And he cannot allow that. With the zone cleared by Barakin's tantrum, Krosh approaches him and says that, due to the aura density, they must be very close to the Lord's location. Barakin, trying to regain his leader posture, tells Krosh he's lucky. Since he exterminated all the minor plague, the Lord must be the only corrupt entity for miles around. Piece of cake. However, Krosh bursts his optimism bubble. He explains that, in fact, means they must be much more cautious. If there are no small trash mobs consuming the environment's energy, it means that 3-Star Lord is so powerful it's capable of sustaining all the zone's corruption by itself. Hearing this, the warriors start whispering with fear, morale dropping. Barakin, seeing his coup getting rowdy, scolds them with shouts. He tells them not to be intimidated, not to let a simple child's words scare them. He reminds them it's just a 3-star boss and orders them to wrap this up fast. Everyone responds with a forced, "Yes, sir," while preparing for what's coming. Krosh takes advantage of the combat confusion to apply the smoke bomb technique. He moves away from the main group, convinced the others can manage alone, allowing him to focus on his true objective. He reaches the epicenter where the world erosion energy is more concentrated than traffic at rush hour. Without hesitation, he takes off his respiratory mask and inhales the toxic residues deeply as if it were pure mountain air. But of course, his body doesn't share the opinion and, in a matter of seconds, he spits out an alarming amount of vital ketchup. Nearby warriors panic and ask if he was hurt. Krosh, wiping his mouth, drops the lamest excuse in history. "Relax, I just tripped." Barakin, who never misses a chance to be condescending, tells him to stop overexerting himself and offers to carry him, warning him with his typical sweetness not to get in the way. Krosh insists he's fine and rejects him. What nobody knows is that the blood spit was already in the script. It is the price to pay. Krosh begins to fuse his own aura with the unstable erosion energy. However, playing with magical radiation has its risks. He starts feeling mental loss of control. Basically, his sanity is about to go on permanent vacation. But Krosh pulls an ace up his sleeve. A forgotten technique he found in a dusty grimoire of his ancestors, the Sixth Sense. This ability allows him to process all sensations through his aura instead of frying his brain. Thanks to this hack, he manages to keep his sanity and avoids being consumed by corruption. The erosion around him begins to weaken, as if afraid of him. Krosh knows this is just a temporary patch. To solve the root problem, he still desperately needs to steal Bianca's ability. Still, he feels proud of this small achievement. It is one more step in his master plan. But the celebration lasts little. Suddenly, he feels a cold that freezes him to the soul. He turns around slowly and finds himself face to face, literally, with the zone boss. At first it looks like a gigantic worm with a human face stuck on it, something out of a low-budget nightmare. But then, the monster opens its eyes and reveals its true grotesque form. Its body is covered in hundreds of agonizing faces. Everyone freezes in terror. They are facing the legendary demon of 1,000 faces. Barakin, regaining composure by screaming, orders all units to stop shaking and prepare for battle. Barakin doesn't waste time. He charges his energy sword and activates his signature skill, Ignis. In an instant, both he and his weapon are wrapped in furious flames. Soldiers comment in amazement how dazzling he looks, and rightly so. The destructive power emanating is insane. Even Krosh stands there watching, impressed. But then, the memory hits him. Krosh recognizes that fire. It is the same power that carbonized his arm in his past life. He remembers perfectly that, before the regression, Barakin was a complete madman lover of destruction. He wonders for a second if he has changed in this timeline. Although, realistically, he bets he is still the same psychopath as always. So Krosh updates his to-do list. Survive the giant worm and, most importantly, steal that fire ability from his brother as soon as he gets the chance. Meanwhile, the demon of 1,000 faces is having a field day, stealing the features of several soldiers as if they were cheap collectibles. The team's morale nosedives. The warriors, terrified, scream they can't do anything against that abomination and that the only viable strategy at this point is to apply the secret technique of Joseph Joestar. Run for your lives. But Barakin isn't willing to let his raid end in failure. He charges in, ego first, and unleashes a flaming slash with his sword, worthy of a flame Hashira. The demon writhes, screeching while being grilled. Barakin, feeling like the anime protagonist, orders the soldiers not to give up, assuring them he will create the opening for victory. Seeing him in action, the soldiers regain their courage, enthusiastically proclaiming that no monster stands a chance against a prodigy of Barakin's caliber. In the middle of his moment of glory, Barakin turns around arrogantly looking for Krosh's look of admiration. He expects to see his younger brother jaw-dropped, but gets a monumental disappointment. Krosh isn't even looking at him. The kid has his eyes locked on the demon, olympically ignoring his brother's fireworks show. Barakin looks back to the front and understands why. The demon of 1,000 faces has stopped screaming and is now crying tears of blood. The atmosphere changes drastically. Things are getting shady at an alarming speed, and Barakin's face goes from arrogance to contained panic. He knows they must finish this before the situation becomes unmanageable. Barakin screams orders for everyone to focus their fire on the beast. However, it's useless. Attacks imbued with aura bounce off like nothing. Desperate, he yells for everyone to attack at the same time before the thing mutates even more. But this time, no one answers. There is only a sepulchral silence behind his back. Barakin, furious, yells at them that they are Walheim warriors and shouldn't get nervous. But when he turns to scold them, his blood freezes. All his warriors are still standing, but their faces have completely disappeared. They are like meat mannequins. Then the penny drops. He has been hit by a passive AoE curse from the demon without even being touched. He brings his hands to his face and horror consumes him upon noticing that half of his own features don't exist anymore. If this continues, it will be his definitive game over. Fear dominates him and he flees desperately. The demon chases him, and while he runs, Barakin's mind breaks. Why me? Am I, the strongest of the Walheems, going to be deleted from existence here? The stress is so high he starts hallucinating. He sees his sister Charlotte, looking at him with contempt and telling him the truth he fears so much. He is an idiot. He was surpassed by her and now also by his younger brother whom he called useless. Charlotte whispers that a pathetic failure like him deserves to be unsubscribed from life. In the middle of the hallucination, the demon throws a punch with its colossal arm. Barakin barely manages to cover himself, and his arm ends up shredded by the impact. But, plot twist. Remember, all this was part of an illusion caused by the curse. Reality hits again. Barakin wakes up suddenly being dragged across the floor. It's Krosh, who is pulling his body as if he were a trash bag. Confused and in pain, Barakin asks what the hell he is doing. Krosh, with the calm of someone walking the dog, replies that he dragged him out of the demon's aggro range while the other NPCs are still fighting, and probably dying, against it. Barakin's pride reactivates and he pushes Krosh away, saying he can walk alone. But Krosh, being realistic, points out that in his current state he couldn't even light a match with his aura, and asks if he is sure about rejecting his help. Barakin grits his teeth, furious at looking weak, and spits that he doesn't need help from an idiot like him. But his bravery evaporates instantly when he looks back at the demon and terror floods his pants. Krosh gives him the bad news. Despite having moved away, they are still inside the corrupt zone. Which means the exit is blocked. It is a locked boss room. Barakin is terrified upon understanding it. They won't be able to leave until that thing is defeated. It's time for master manipulation. Krosh tells him there is hope, a secret technique that Charlotte taught him personally. He lies shamelessly saying it was thanks to that technique that he managed to beat Annex. Barakin's mind, full of complexes, takes the bait. A secret technique from Charlotte? Meaning she taught it to Krosh because she prefers her brother from the same mother. Jealousy blinds him to the lie. Barakin asks if he really thinks that with that technique they can send the demon to the lobby. Krosh answers without hesitation that yes. Or that, at least, it is better to try than to stand there waiting for the erosion to consume them. He extends his hand to Barakin and plays his last psychological card. I understand if you don't believe in me, but at least you believe in our sister's strength, right? Barakin, resigned and cornered, accepts the hand. Yes, Charlotte is a prodigy after all, he admits, swallowing his pride. But he warns Krosh that if he fails, both are finished. The stage is set. Krosh positions himself behind his brother, supposedly to support him with the technique. But what he does is activate his steal skill. A malicious smile draws on his face while he whispers in his ear a promise with double meaning. Don't worry, I won't miss.